Welcome to the Village Boy Podcast. It is your host, Trez, and we're having again another interesting conversation. Yesterday they had the Super Cup, European Super Cup tournament out in Europe. This is a soccer game that's played between the winners of the Europa Cup, who happen to be Tottenham, have a soft spot for Tottenham, and the winners of the Champions League, uh, who happen to be PSG, or in America you're going to say PSG. Still a acquired taste on my tongue. PSG versus PSG. So this was the bigger champions, the Champions League. The winner, the last 5 or 6 winners have been the winners of the Champions League, and this is the person that actually is the winner of Europe. So PSG or PSG is officially the champion of Europe. They conquered the European champion. But that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about the pre-game banner that was displayed on the field. And I actually did find it pretty interesting at the start of the UEFA Super Cup. And the banner reads, "Stop killing children, stop killing civilians." So, as the village boy, we have to be able to ask the questions that the organizers for this tournament did not want to ask, because that's what we do on this platform. Who should stop killing children? Who should stop killing civilians? Your UEFA Europe did not have the balls or the strength to be a one man's voice to identify who needed to stop killing children and who needed to stop killing civilians. But I'm sure even the blind could see that they mean Israel should stop killing children and Israel should stop killing civilians. But if anybody had put Israel's name on there, they would have been doxxed, and maybe this show is going to be flagged, because once ever you mention the name of Israel, YouTube is coming down on you. Everybody's breathing down your neck. Nobody can talk about Israel and get out of jail free. It's just almost impossible. The other day my show was flagged because I exposed APAC. That show has not been able to make air since, because YouTube took it down. You cannot expose APAC the way I did. I was labeled hate and anti-Semitic when I was just pointing out that that organization needed to register as a foreign lobby, which is a conversation that's being had on X. But on a platform like YouTube, if you want to be monetized, you have to be very careful, because everything, and now that the Republicans have passed all kinds of bills, that if you say anything, if maybe Europe had put Israel on this, they would be labeled anti-Semitic. They would be called Europeans hate Jews and all of that stuff. But the question again, who should stop? Is this just a universal friendly message? Stop killing children, stop killing civilians. Is that what it is? So I decided to go to Grok and look at the data. Right, I decided to go to Grok and say how many children have been killed by Israel so far. I wanted to know, because that's the only war that's actively going where children are expressly targeted and civilians are expressly targeted. In Ukraine, it's a back and forth war between militaries. So there's plenty of casualties in Ukraine, but nobody's expressly targeting children, as in the case of Gaza. So UNICEF, as of May 2025, over 50,000 children have been killed or injured in Gaza since October 2023, with 1,309 children reported killed and 3,738 injured since the ceasefire ended on March 18th, 2025. So even though there's been a ceasefire, there's still so much killing going on. And so what's the point of the ceasefire? Right, 3,738 injured since the ceasefire and 1,309 children killed. Right, so ceasefire, but They're still killing children. So, the Gaza Ministry of Health, via OSHA, January 2025, at least 13,319 children were among the 46,645 Palestinians killed in Gaza from October 7, 2023 to January 14, 2025, with 708 of them under 1 year old. Let's take a moment of silence for these children, because it's just unacceptable that we're having, even during a football game, we're having banners that's going up in the air, banners that's being produced to say people should go ahead and stop. Yeah, for the 1 year old, for all the children that have lost their lives. So stop killing children, stop killing civilians. Right. Let's keep reading on. Right. All right. Oxfam, Al Jazeera, at least 18,430 children were killed in Gaza by Israeli attack since October 2023. 18,000 children, 1,000, 20,000, 11,000. Jesus, have humans gone this heartless? Oxfam, September 2024, more than 11,000 children were killed in Gaza over the past year, a figure exceeding child death in any other recent conflict in a single year. This is difficult, right? I don't know how this is okay for anybody, but we'll keep reading up. Save the Children, October 2023. At least 3,195 children were killed in Gaza in a 3-week period, surpassing annual child death in global conflict since 2019. How is this acceptable? How is this okay? How? Who are they punishing? Right? Who are the Israeli trying to punish? What's the outcome here? Right? In Europe now they're begging, stop killing children, stop killing civilians. You can see that, right? This is not AI. This was before the game. That's Tottenham, and that's PSG, Paris Saint-Germain. The game ended 2-2, and Paris won on via penalties. Right? So, Vatican News, right? Over 13,000 children killed, with nearly 800 under 1 year old, as part of a death toll exceeding 44,300 in Gaza. Over what? Over what? X post, August 2025, so as recent as today. Some posts claim 18,500 children killed, with 4,741 under 5 years old, based on Gaza Ministry of Health, though these figures are unverified and may include estimates. Of course, they're not letting journalists come in. They're not letting international journalists come in. And as you can see, not a single Israeli newspaper is reporting the death toll. Right? So during the game, they had two Palestinian kids that it's just too emotional. That's why I'm taking it, because hearing that 14,000 children have been killed, and this kind of ridiculous number is just taxing on the body, right? So let's go ahead and see who is responsible for this madness, right? So this are not all the people. America's Congress is entirely responsible for the carnage that's going on in Gaza. All of those children killed and the civilians killed. Americans are squarely to blame, right? All of this right here. This message is not only for Israel; it's for America. America, stop killing children, stop killing civilians, right? Because why am I bringing America? America is not out there fighting a war, but this is what America is doing. America is funding the war. America is providing, right, the arms that are used to kill those children. So you cannot blame Israel alone, as Israel is the one doing the action, but America is the sponsor. America is the enabler. America is the one enabling Israel to be this out of control country that's able to kill all of these children with impunity. There's no regards to life. And this stems from America. And I have always asked in all of the Village Boys podcasts, I've always asked, what else unites Americans in the political sphere? What else unites American politicians, red and black, that is red and blue, Democrats and Republicans, that is pro-American, that is American first? What else unites these politicians? What else in America, right, would bring Republicans and Democrats together to vote for a bill at the rate of at least 90%? There's absolutely nothing. They cannot even stand and clap. When there's a republic, the only time that Americans clap is when they're talking about American soldiers and when they're talking about Israel. That's the only time you would find that both parties can, when there's an initiative for the military, both sides of government, both political arms will come together and clap. Apart from that, they disagree fundamentally on everything except Israel. How can a unifying factor be a foreign country in your own country? But as you can see, these are all people with blood on their hands. These are the Democrats, but they're the Republicans. We can go back and look at the APAC, go to X and look at the APAC score. The entire US government, bar 2 or 3 people, are not owned by APAC. And if you're not under the APAC umbrella, they're going to come for you. If Israel does not own you, they're going to come for you. And if you want your seat secured, if you want to be assured re-election, you have to vote for the genocide. You have to fund the killing of children and civilians. You have to fund for this. This is what you're voting for as 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 an American politician, right? This is what you're voting for, correct? You're voting for the massacre of American of children and civilian. They cannot say this, but Americans, I have a question to ask. When you look at your politicians, do you when you look at your politicians, do you ask yourself, are they working for my interest or are they working for the interest of Israel? Because it cannot be the same thing. It does not benefit you in any ways. It does not in any shape put food on your table. It does not in any shape assist you with, or is it a route that you're going to heaven? Because I'm trying to understand if it's a route that you're going to heaven. That's the reason why you are blindly supporting a country far away, right? And they have created this package, this narrative that Israel is a Jewish state, and any attack, any disagreement with Israel is an attack on Jews. And once it's configured in that way, then it becomes anti-Semitic if you say Israel is perpetrating these crimes, because then you are literally attacking Jews. And let's go ahead and watch an exchange between Piers Morgan and Palestinian journalist, right? Ahmed Al Nakwar. I'm butchering his name. Let's just watch this exchange. He's trying to make Piers understand, but Piers, like most Westerners and like most APAC-owned journalists, is refusing to understand.
The loss of your family members. And second, I would never judge anyone who fires off intemperate thoughts in a moment. So I didn't take that personally. Thirdly, I was getting that from quite a few people. a lot of those people now are praising me because they think I've switched sides. And to be clear with you, I don't take sides. I never have done. I've tried to platform people on both sides throughout this whole war. I think that's been really important. But it's good to see you in the studio and to meet. We don't know each other. First of all, when you posted that to me, why did you post that? Why did you blame me for what had happened to your family?
Well, thank you for having me first, and thank you for having so many Palestinians on your show. I don't think you can blame me for saying this to you, Piers, because you and I are journalists, and we know how important the role of journalists in this world is. And I've known you for a long time. I have been following you for a long time. And I have always looked at you as this prominent British journalist. You're one of the most prominent journalists in the world. And then October the 7th happened. And I was watching how you covered the news in Gaza. And you were very angry at this October the 7th. And that's okay. You have the right to be angry at October the 7th.
Were you?
Yes.
You were?
Yes.
You were angry at what Hamas did that day?
Yes, I was.
Israeli people? The slaughter, the mayhem, the murder, the kidnapping of babies and Holocaust. This is one of the things I kept asking all the Palestinian guests, which is probably why you had a view that somehow I was against the Palestinian people. I wasn't, but I was certainly against anyone that wouldn't absolutely unreservedly condemn what Hamas did that day. That had to be a starting point for any constructive conversation.
Okay, so you've said that for a long, long time. We have been talking about that for 20
But why would that be wrong?
Months. It's not wrong to feel angry about what happened. I wholeheartedly stand against harming civilians. All of my work, all of my life, all of my principles is against harming any civilians, whoever they are. I'm against all of that. But my problem, Piers, is that I have looked a lot for you. And then for the past 20 months, you have been repeating this over and over and over and over again, as if October the 7th was the beginning of everything. And you never looked at what happened before October the 7th and what happened 20 months after October the 7th.
The thing is, Ahmed, I never took a view that anything that happened on either side before October the 7th could possibly justify what Hamas did that day. There is no justification for that scale of terrorist attack. None. Nada. Nothing. So I wasn't prepared to countenance anyone sitting on that chair or in any other location I was in, who, if I said to them...
And Piers is right. An eye for an eye gets you fully blind, right? You poke my eye, I poke your eye, you poke my eye. At the end of the day, you're both blind. But Piers cannot be so naive to think that this issue started on October the 7th. They should never, Israeli life is just as valuable as Palestinian life. They should, nobody who should subscribe to the mass slaughter of any people. But you cannot say people that have been subjugated, battered for since the arrival of the European Jews from Poland and Eastern Europe, this land by the Balfour Treaty, co-sponsored by the United States of America, has not been the same level of terrorist attack inflicted on the Palestinian people over 70 years. So yes, you don't return crime for crime. It's a justified place to have a conversation, but also admitting that it has not been a fair relationship with America providing weapons for Israel and providing humanitarian aid for Palestine, and you're providing weapons for Israel, and at the same time you are the peace broker. So you give them guns to go kill the people, and then you are the peace mediator and wanting to create peace between the people you are funding to kill the other people. Who has ever thought that that strategy was going to work? Who has ever thought that you funding one side and complete unapologetic loyalty to that side could make you a fair arbitrator in a conflict conversation between both sides? Only Americans can think that they can fund Israel, They are allies to Israel. They are best friends. They are Israel's priority trumps America's priority. Matter of fact, Israel's security trumps America's national security, because I can guarantee that if Israel had a problem and if America had a problem, America would probably elect to save Israel. Right? And so you figure out that you can play referee when you are friends, you are in bed, you are in cahoots, you are with with the Cowboys, you're a Cowboys fan, you love the Cowboys apologetically, you're a Cowboys is the American team, you're all about the Cowboys, you've already given them the game plan, you've given them every information. And then you come to the Super Bowl to be the ref for the Cowboys against the Philadelphia Eagles. And you're supposed to be impartial. This is what America is trying to have us understand, that it is possible. The reason why this project has failed, this peace treaty has failed over the years, is because the people that are supposed to be arbitrators are not neutral. They are impartial. Right? And every vote that comes in the Security Council gets washed down by the most powerful country that is an ally and a biased supporter of one of the countries. How can there be peace in that region? How can there be any kind of long-lasting agreement when it's based completely, and you make no apologies about it, on biased love towards one of the countries? And Pierce is sitting out here acting as if he does not know this. He does not know that this war did not start in October 7th. The war on the Israeli people is not acceptable in any condition. But if you have to look at history, then you have to look at the whole picture. It has been long over 70 years of subjugation and an open concentration camp. So if the people have their backs against the war and they decided to fight, you're not going to justify, but you're going to try to understand that their backs were against the war and they fought. Let's keep listening, because there's a lot of education that he's going to get here.
Do you condemn what Hamas did? If they refuse to answer, then I would challenge them angrily about that, as I would do the other way around, as I am now about what Israel's been doing. So I campaigned against the Iraq war, right? When I was editor of the Daily Mirror, I campaigned against things I think are wrong. And I will challenge and harangue people when I think they're supporting things that are wrong. So I'm just curious, though, why you've made it so personal against me. Do you blame me for the loss of your loved ones? I didn't understand that.
Okay. So everyone appreciates that you stood up against the war in Iraq. We also wanted you to stand up against the genocide that is taking place in Gaza. And you changed your talks recently, and I appreciate that. I love that. But please remember that, Pierce, bad journalism kills. Bad journalism killed people. You know that Israel could not carry out a genocide in Gaza without the justification of the mainstream media. And unfortunately, I don't blame you specifically for the murder of my family.
Well, you did.
I blame all of the mainstream media on the murder of my family, and you were one of them. Unfortunately,
well, you blame me personally.
I blame you personally as one of the mainstream media who justified the murder of the.
Pierce is still not understanding that he's just playing as if he doesn't understand. He's a sharp guy. Pierce should understand that the mainstream media is completely owned, and they're only going to give the narrative that is assigned to them by their owners. And to protect my little channel and my few subscribers, thank you for subscribing, thank you for hitting like, thank you for believing in this channel. To protect us and our integrity on always speaking the truth, we're not going to be able to call the names of the owners, because then that would be hate. So we're not going to call the names, but everybody knows. And that's why the mainstream media is unable to say this is a genocide. How can you kill 18,000 and it's not called a genocide? In what world is that not a genocide? How can 50,000 people be killed, civilians and children, and we're not calling it a genocide or massacre? How? Because the powers that be write the story.
Palestinians and dehumanize the Palestinians.
I never
over
justified the
past.
murder of Palestinians. I only said,
Not directly.
I only
Indirectly.
said that I believed Israel had a fundamental right and duty to defend its people after that appalling attack, a series of attacks, particularly as Hamas, through its official spokesman on camera, had said they were prepared and wanted to do this again and again and again.
Well, the thing
You talk about genocide,
Yeah.
that is genocide. That is actually what genocide is. When you want to kill as many Jews as you can kill.
that's the problem. Pierce.
Yeah, but that is
No,
genocide.
that is the problem. We always say
This is where it's getting interesting. This is the interesting part. The other part, we just wasted time for no reason. But Pierce expressly said they want to kill as many Jews as possible. And that's the interesting part of this conversation. Let's go ahead and watch.
that they want to kill the Jews.
They
Pierce,
do.
That is dangerous. You and I know that.
But they do.
Our problem is not
They don't
against
make
the
any.
Jews.
They don't make any secret of it.
No. Our problem is not with the Jews. And even Hamas' problem is not with the Jews. It is with the Israelis.
Why do they kill so many Jews then?
They did not kill Jews. They killed Israelis. And I don't justify killing of Israel. It's not that I want them to kill Israelis.
What
But there's a
religion do you
huge
suspect
difference.
most of the Israelis were?
It doesn't matter.
It does matter.
No.
See, Pierce is playing dumb because they need to tie this language to make it one and indivisible. Because if you attack an Israeli, then you are attacking a Jew. Israelis are Jewish. You have Muslim Israelis, you have Christian Israelis, and you have Jewish Israelis. That's the truth. Is the majority of the country is Jewish, but that does not make it a Jewish state. If they killed a Muslim Israeli, are they any less of an Israeli than the Jewish Israeli? But to make the anti-Semitic attack stick, then you have to be able to put these two things, you have to make it one. Israel equals Jew, Jew equals Israel. You cannot separate one from the other. So if you attack Israel, you attack Jews. If you attack Jews, you attack Israel. So there is no separation, there's no distinction, it's one. So then it becomes a hate crime. This is what Pierce is playing as if he doesn't understand, and the journalist is trying to deconstruct him. But if he does and he wins, then the narrative becomes flawed. Then Israel would be exposed to people calling them out for their inhumane behavior towards the children and civilians of Gaza. But you cannot do that, because you have to remember at all times, an Israeli is a Jew and a Jew is an Israeli. So if you attack Israel, you're anti-Semitic because you attacked the Jew. You see how that works? Let's keep listening.
Oh no, it makes a huge difference. They were not attacked because they were Jews. They were attacked because they were Israelis. It's a huge difference.
How many of the people who were killed were not Jewish?
It doesn't matter. But would you like?
Of course it matters.
No, it matters. Let me ask you a question. So many Palestinians were killed. Thousands of Palestinians were killed. Would you call Israel killed the Muslims in Gaza? You would say the Palestinians and the Israelis were Israelis. They were not there as Jews. They were there as Israelis. And that is dangerous, Pierce. It's not a religious war. This is a war between colonization and colonized, occupiers and occupied. People who have been living under blockade, under siege, under occupation for the past 77 years. It's not with the Jews. We never had a problem with the Jews. We love the Jews as much as we love the Christians.
But you have a problem with Israelis?
Of course, we have a problem with the Israelis as occupiers.
So if you have a problem with America, America is a vastly Christian country. If you have a political disagreement if Iran has a problem with America today, right, would the attack, if Iran were to attack America, right, would the attack be that you attacked Christians and now you've made a religious war, which is fundamentally a hate crime, or you attacked a sovereign nation called America that you had problems with? Israel is a sovereign state, and a country can attack Israel for whatever reason, and you attacked Israel. But if you attacked Israel because of Jews, then that becomes a hate crime. But you see, they have to attach it so that Israel is not distinct, because if you separate it, this is also a protective factor for Israel. Because if you say Israel is a secular country, then it's open for all kinds of attack. People can call Israel out for killing 50,000 people. Israel can be called out for killing 18,000 children. How many other thousands of children that have been? Israel can be called for its crime against its war crimes against humanity. Israel can be, but now you cannot do it because, like, Pierce is playing dumb right now, acting like he don't know no better, which he does. I mean, he supports Tottenham. He supports Arsenal, a team that's never going to win permanent second. He supports them. So he knows because he supports that kind of a team. But he's playing because he's part of he comes from the mainstream media, and he understands who owns him, who owns his platform. They will deplatform him. He has 4 million views, right? If I speak the truth and they deplatform me, I'm just going to lose my current 100 and adorable 45 loyal subscribers that I love with all my heart. But that's because I was trying to point out the truth, that they're trying to blend both of them so that it becomes one, and then it's harder to criticize, because then you will be labeled anti-Semitic, hater of Jews. You don't like Jews because you're attacking Israel. And that's what this journalist is trying to deconstruct. And to me, he's winning, but to the vast majority of Western people who don't see that their entire government has been taken hostage by a foreign country, they will see him again as perpetrating hate.
How can you say you have no problem with the Jews, but you have a problem with the Israelis, given that most Israelis are Jewish?
I'm just astonished that you can't make the difference between the Jews and the Israelis, please.
He can. He just doesn't want to. It's a difference. He supports Arsenal, so he can distinguish between what you're saying and what he understands to be the right message. It's a ploy. It's a game. It's a strategy. It's well calculated, well oiled for this particular reason that you're trying to explain to him.
Why?
Huge difference.
Most of them are Jewish.
Yes.
You know that.
Yes, but they're called Israelis.
I'm astonished you would try and draw a distinction.
There's a huge difference.
Hamas don't give a damn about whether they're Israelis or anything else. They care about killing Jews. They made it no secret.
No, listen. I am the last person on earth to defend Hamas.
Good.
But just because I don't like Hamas, that does not make me like amplify and exaggerate in their in what they think and lie about them. Do you know Ahmed Yassin, the founder of Hamas? Do you know him?
Not personally.
No, he was the founder of Hamas, and he was known as handicap who Israel killed. But anyway, he was once asked, what is your problem with the Jews? And he said it clearly, and I'm quoting him, I don't have a problem with the Jews. If my brother, if my cousin occupied my country and killed me, I would have a problem with them. The problem with the Palestinians is against Zionism, against Israelis.
So why did they kill innocent Israeli people then? Innocent women, children, grandmothers.
Don't ask me that question.
Why did they kidnap babies? Why did they kidnap Holocaust survivors?
Ask them. Don't ask me. I'm not one of them.
You're trying to explain their ideology, and I'm telling you, they are an undisguised death cult.
It all makes difference.
Intent on killing as many Jews as they can kill.
It's dangerous when you make this religious war.
It's dangerous when you try and pretend they're not after killing Jews.
Of course not. They're not, Pierce. Come on. They're after.
So as you can see, the loud mouthpiece for the Western media is pushing this narrative, and the U.S. Congress has bought it because they have passed every kind of anti-Semitic bill. As I'm having this show, I don't know, I might have a knock on my door on saying that what it is. But the village boy, we've always said we're going to speak the truth. We are not going to pander. That's why we don't have funding. Because we're not owned. We only have to do this on a platform that is heavily restricted and controlling. But we try to have an honest conversation about things that people do not touch on in everyday circumstances. So this is how Europe came out with that slogan, because with the banner, because the killings had just gone out of control, right? The killings had gone out of control, correct? So here, Israel lobby paid this 17 Democrats $17,612,240 to starve Gaza. Right. So when you look at your political class, your Republicans, neither one of them, not us. There two or three. I'm slowly becoming a fan of Marjorie Taylor Greene because she's objecting to this. She's an American first congresswoman. She prioritizes the need for America. I'm also a fan for Mamdani. I'm going to do a show for the future mayor, hopefully, knock on wood, for New York. And I'm a fan for anybody that is fighting for the everyday American. That should be your focus. Your focus cannot be people millions of miles away, hundreds of miles away in another distant country when your own people have everyday problems you have not or you don't even want to solve. So yes, I applaud Europe for saying stop killing the children, stop killing civilians, but at least have the balls, have the audacity, have the ability to list who is doing the killing. And in that conversation, it has to be America and Israel because America is funding and Israel is acting. I didn't mean any hate. I don't hate nobody. I just had to analyze the conversation in the eyes of the village boy. Right? I was here when that war started and I was appalled at the carnage that went down. But I'm equally appalled that the number of children and the lack of empathy, the vitriol, I don't see any difference between the IDF and Hamas. I do not see any difference. You cannot make me understand that Hamas is a terrorist organization and IDF is not a terrorist organization when IDF has under their killing counts over 50,000 people and Hamas has under their killing count less than 2,000 people. So if you kill 2,000 people, you are a terrorist. If you kill 50,000 women and children, you are a national hero. You're fighting for independence. You're fighting to protect yourself. Are we kidding here? For me, I don't buy into that kind of logic. Maybe my logic is flawed and I apologize, but it's not from hate. It's so that we have a better world, a world where all of us are able to get along and be along. It's your host, Stress.